You know, one of the greatest tragedies in life is to spend years climbing a ladder, only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Everybody wants to succeed. That's not the problem. The problem is, most people don't stop to ask what success really means. They chase it. They mimic it. They wear it like a mask. But very few build it like a foundation. And here's the truth most won't tell you. Success, real success, isn't loud. It doesn't always shine. It doesn't come with applause or a standing ovation. It comes quietly. It's how you live when no one's watching. It's who you become when the world stops clapping. So today, I want to give you something better than motivation. I want to give you 6 fundamental concepts, anchors, principles, truths, things that will outlast the storm, outlast the applause, and yes, outlast even failure itself. Because if you build your life on what's trending, you'll collapse when the trend changes. But if you build on truth, you'll stand steady while the world shakes. Let me tell you, one of the first lessons that changed my entire philosophy about wealth and life was this: you don't get paid for time. You get paid for value. Asterisk, asterisk. And once I understood that, everything shifted. I used to think that if I just worked harder, if I put in more hours, then surely success would catch up to me. But that wasn't the case. Because it's not the hours that make the difference, it's what you put into those hours that the marketplace rewards. I remember back when I was working a regular job, putting in all the effort I could muster. I was busy, yes, but I wasn't valuable. I hadn't developed the skills, the thinking, the habits that create results. The marketplace didn't ignore me because it was unfair. It ignored me because I hadn't given it a reason to notice. That's when I realized, if you want to be wealthy, you've got to become more valuable. Asterisk, asterisk. Not flashy, not noisy, just more capable, more wise, more equipped. I began reading not just motivational books, but books on finance, on leadership, on communication. I started listening more, observing those who were successful, not just mimicking their actions, but understanding their philosophies. And slowly, I began to change. Not overnight, but bit by bit, I became more thoughtful with my decisions, more intentional with my time, and more disciplined with my energy. There's a trap that many fall into, and it's one that quietly steals your power, the addiction to approval. We all want to be liked, respected, and accepted. It's natural. But when your sense of worth depends on the applause of others, you give away your freedom. I learned this the hard way. Early in my career, I found myself bending my actions, changing my words, even dimming my own light, just to fit in or be accepted by a group or a boss. It was exhausting, and it left me empty. You see, when you make your value dependent on others' opinions, you become a performer on a stage you didn't build. You start chasing applause, and the problem is, applause is fleeting. It's loud one day and silent the next. Worse yet, it's often insincere or given for the wrong reasons. I once knew a man who would do anything to please his clients. He never said no, even when it meant stretching himself thin. In the short term, he earned praise. But over time, he lost respect for himself and from those who mattered most. That kind of approval isn't worth having. The truth is, real success doesn't come from being liked by everyone. It comes from being true to yourself, standing firm in your values, and leading with integrity, even if it means standing alone at times. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, taught that if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. When you live by that, your worth becomes self-generated, not borrowed. So don't seek to rent your value from others' opinions. Own your worth. Build your identity on what you know is right and true. When you do, you'll find your footing becomes steadier, your decisions clearer, and your success deeper because it's built on something unshakable. Approval is a currency that devalues quickly. Self-worth is the wealth that lasts a lifetime. There's a lesson that took me years to fully grasp. Hustle alone isn't enough. You can run faster and work harder, but if you're running in the wrong direction, all that effort just wears you out. What truly matters is alignment when what you do on the outside matches what you believe on the inside. I remember when I first started, I was obsessed with doing more, pushing harder, chasing every opportunity that came my way. But I was scattered, exhausted, and nowhere near where I wanted to be. It wasn't until I stopped to ask myself, does this actually align with my values and purpose, that everything began to change. Imagine a ship sailing without a compass. No matter how fast the sails catch the wind, it's drifting. That's how life feels without alignment. When your actions, beliefs, and ambitions pull in different directions, it creates tension and chaos inside. You might be busy, but you're not productive in the way that matters. I met a man once who had all the trappings of success, a big house, fancy cars, and a high-paying job, but he was deeply unhappy because his work contradicted his core values. It wasn't until he realigned his life that he found true peace and progress. This idea isn't new. The Stoics spoke of harmony within as the foundation of a good life. When your head, heart, and hands move together, you don't just get things done, you move with purpose and confidence. Alignment is like a well-tuned instrument. When every string is in harmony, the music flows effortlessly. So instead of hustling blindly, slow down and listen to what your soul is telling you. Choose the direction that feels right, not just the one that looks good on paper. That's how momentum builds that lasts. Remember, it's better to travel the right road slowly than the wrong road fast. True success is less about how much you do and more about how true you stay to yourself while doing it. Success isn't a lightning strike. It's a slow burn. I've learned that there's magic in the routine, something that too many overlook in their rush for quick results. Discipline is the backbone of success, the quiet force that holds everything together when motivation fades. When I was starting out, I had no special advantages, no secret formula, just a commitment to showing up every day and doing the work, even when I didn't feel like it. Think about a farmer tending his crops. He doesn't see the harvest overnight. He waters, weeds, and watches patiently, knowing that the real growth happens beneath the surface, out of sight. In life and wealth, it's the same. The daily rituals, waking early, reading a little more, saving a small portion, making one more call, these aren't glamorous, but they build the muscle that carries you through hard times. I knew a young man who dreamed of success but waited for inspiration. Some days he felt motivated and chased his goals with passion. Other days he gave up halfway through. He learned the hard way that motivation is a guest, not a master. But when he built discipline, when he made those small daily choices without negotiation, his progress became unstoppable. Discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who simply wish. It's what keeps the promise when no one else is watching. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So build your habits carefully. Nurture your routine. And remember, greatness is born in the quiet, consistent effort of ordinary days. That's where true wealth grows. Life is a series of seasons, and each one carries its own purpose and lesson. Too often, people panic when they hit a slow or difficult season. They think they're falling behind, that something's wrong. I remember times when my progress seemed to stall, when doors closed and the road ahead wasn't clear. At first, I felt frustrated, even defeated. But I came to understand that these seasons aren't obstacles, they're opportunities to grow deeper roots. A wise man once said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Just like the tree that spends months in silence beneath the soil, preparing to burst forth in spring, we must learn to honor the seasons of our own lives. Sometimes you're planting, laying groundwork no one else sees. Other times, you're pruning, letting go of what no longer serves you. And there are seasons of rest and reflection where growth happens quietly but powerfully. I've seen people try to sprint through every season, forcing outcomes, burning themselves out because they didn't understand that growth isn't always loud or fast. The problem isn't the slow seasons, it's resisting them. Fighting against the natural rhythm of life. When you lean into your season, ask what it's teaching you, you build resilience and wisdom. You begin to trust the process instead of rushing the results. So, don't just go through seasons, grow through them. Embrace the waiting, the planting, the quiet moments, knowing each phase is preparing you for what's next. True success comes not from how quickly you move, but from how deeply you grow. One of the greatest lessons I learned on the road to success is that emotions, while powerful, can't be the steering wheel of your life. They rise and fall like the tide, unpredictable and often overwhelming. If you rely on how you feel in the moment to make decisions or take action, you'll find yourself tossed about by every wind and wave. That's why building emotional muscle is essential, strengthening the inner core that stands steady no matter what storms come your way. I remember when I first began speaking in public. Some days, confidence was high, and my words flowed easily. Other days, doubt crept in, nerves took hold, and I wanted to quit. But the difference between those who succeed and those who give up is the ability to show up regardless of how you feel. It's training yourself to move forward through discomfort, uncertainty, and fear. As the old saying goes, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. When life throws setbacks, criticism, or failure your way, and it will, you need that emotional resilience to keep going. It's not about ignoring feelings or bottling them up. It's about acknowledging them and choosing not to be ruled by them. The Stoics taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the heart of emotional muscle. Building this strength requires practice. It means facing challenges head on rather than avoiding them. It means pausing before reacting, reflecting instead of reacting impulsively. It means standing firm in your purpose when your emotions scream for you to quit. This kind of inner strength compounds over time, and it becomes a fortress that protects your progress. As we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to remember this. True success is not a destination marked by trophies or titles, but a life built on solid, unshakable foundations. It begins from within, with the value you cultivate, the integrity you hold, and the alignment you maintain between your actions and your deepest truths. Success that lasts isn't flashy or loud. It's quiet, steady, and patient. It grows through discipline, through seasons of growth, and through the strength you build in your character and emotions. You have the power to become the architect of your life, designing a future that reflects your purpose and principles. But that power only comes when you stop chasing external approval and start anchoring your worth inside. It's in the daily routines, the choices you make when no one's watching, and the resilience you cultivate in the face of hardship that your true wealth is forged. So here's my challenge to you. Begin today. Don't wait for motivation or permission. Take one step small, intentional, and aligned with who you want to be. Build your value, strengthen your emotional muscle, and lead with purpose. Your future self will thank you for the foundation you lay now. This is your moment. Own it.